And we are live. And we are live. We certainly are. There we go.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully, everyone in the chat room can hear us. All being well.
Hope so. Yes.
Hello, Mr. Flag. Good to see you in the chat room.
Oh, Mr. Flag, I'm going to come down to the Ascot event on the first day, towards the end of October. So if you are there, I will see you there.
Sounds
hopefully.
very posh, Nev.
Yes. Well, his company does a really good show for 2 days every October down at Ascot, the racecourse. And when I was working, we used to sponsor the event as well, or be a big exhibition stand there and all the rest of it. And but I just thought I'd pop in just to see some of my old chums, make sure they're working properly, earning their money, you know. So, yes. That res is still 720p, so it makes no difference, Carlos. Just to let you know.
Yeah, it's definitely switched to normal. I've just checked.
Yeah,
it's
on.
definitely
I'll
normal.
Matt to have a look at it.
There must be another setting that you have to change
there is.
to do it on there.
There is. Yes. Jolly good.
But you're gonna release these as a series anyway on YouTube, aren't we? So
yes, another very good interview this week with Alan Munro. I hope if I ever make it to 84, which is his age, I hope I have the same amount of memory recall that he does. I can barely remember what's happened yesterday, let alone 40 years ago. But yeah, he's just unbelievable.
Mm. It must be a healthy diet and the RAF lifestyle.
I think so. There's definitely something about people that have flown in the military. It's a bit like golfers. You know, they've got a lot of stories, many of which are not suitable for broadcast, but they've certainly been around a bit. And yeah, it makes a very entertaining listening and viewing, I think.
Mm.
My life has not been as exciting as his. Although I can't complain, but, you know, it's just a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. So, yes.
Well, I am eating olive oil spread.
Oh, are you?
Which is it's supposed to be good
okay.
for you. Yeah, it's supposed
very
to be
good
good for you. John Falk has put in the chat, right? I find it concerning when I look at old photos and don't remember them being taken.
You and me both, John. Yes. Whether I've taken them or people have taken them of me in the past at various events around the world, and I'm going, I've got no idea what that was or where that was. Very occasionally, someone, if they've got a digital camera, would have the date stamp on it, wouldn't they, in the corner somewhere? So you go, oh yeah, that was 2006. But yeah, it's it's all a bit of a distant past now, isn't it? But we're doing our best. We're trying to keep up.
The thing for me is, the company that I work for now. My boss, my line manager, is 30.
Gosh. So you could be his dad, really, couldn't you? If you think about it.
Oh no, I think
you're old enough to be your boss's father.
Oh, scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
Okay. Interesting. One of the things I've noticed since I've finished work is, because I was talking about our customers every single day of the week, and sometimes at the weekends as well, I wouldn't have no problem with recall of names and faces and stuff like that. And now, having been out of the whole thing since February, I have a real problem when I speak to some of my old colleagues and think, oh, do you remember so-and-so? I'm going, Vaguely, yes. And of course, this was someone that I was interacting with 12 months ago, probably. But yeah, it's amazing. If you don't use it, you lose it, as they say.
Yeah.
But anyway, there we go.
In a you snooze, you lose. Well, I definitely snooze. That's for sure.
Yes. Darren says, do you call him son, your boss? It's probably not the best career move, but it's an option.
Do you know what the scary thing is? I hope he's not watching now. My boss looks very much like Goose from.
Are you ready with the clock?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
He does. Yeah, he looks like Goose from Top Gun. I'm not going to tell him that, but he does.
Don't do that. God, dear. Anyway,
ready? Right, are you ready, Nev? Should we do a show?
Off you go.
Let's do a show, shall we? Countdown time is running. Here we go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 572 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, Liverpool's John Lennon Airport has new check-in rules, gives budget airline passengers more time to relax. KLM introduces their first A350 simulator in the Netherlands ahead of crew training, and the Airbus A320 flies past the Boeing 737 as the most delivered jetliner in history. In the military news this week, the RAF Reaper flies its final operational mission, marking the end of 18 years' service, and Top Gun-style tests sees the US Air Force pilots train alongside AI-piloted drones. We've also got part 4 of the fascinating interview that Captain Nick took part in with Alan Munro, and in this week's episode, Alan talks about his time on the Harrier and the Phantom, and also the tragic accident of a Vulcan that he witnessed at RAF Luqa in Malta back in 1975. So, joining me this week, he's back all across the fields and the glorious sunshine-soaked fields of Buckinghamshire. It is, of course, Neville Bones. Hi, Nev.
Day, a bit of sort of a cloudy cast over the whole country, I think, today. Probably actually got some reasonable weather over the next few days. Just cloud, but at least it's not going to be raining. So, yes, I am back. Slightly better than last week, I'm pleased to say. I've got rid of that cold and the norovirus business that we both had before that. So, yes, but excellent for weight loss. I can thoroughly recommend it if you want to lose a few pounds. But now we're all back up and running, and plenty of aviation in this week's show as well, I have to say. Lots of interesting stories in there. It's just Carlos and me this week, but we've got stacks to talk about with you, so I hope you enjoy them.
Yeah, and we've also got our retro airline ad of the week this week, which this week is... well, it is going to be awesome. Honestly, and Nev's not seen it yet. I don't think he's seen it yet. But this week's Retro Airline Ad of the Week, not only is it aviation related, but it has got also stars 2 of the UK's, I think, probably the best comedians ever to be on TV here in the UK. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I always look forward to that segment. Actually, I never look at it beforehand, so the first time I ever see it is when we broadcast it. So I'm looking forward to another gem from the archives.
So we're going to have a look in the chat room to see who's joining us this week in the show. Top of the list. Check out the crowns. I always look at the crowns. John Falk's in there. Hello to you, John Falk, good to see you in there. Also one of our latest Patreon donators, so thank you very much to John Falk for that. Very much appreciated. Love it. Darren Smith, he's in there as well. Says, evening, ladies and gents. Hope your wings are flying high and the right way up. I hope so. Mazoos, hello to Mazoos. He is in the chat room as well. Good to see you. Richard E. Flagg, our resident drone pilot and aviation airfield extraordinaire from around the UK here. Some great pictures on his Facebook page again this week. Tanya, our awesome Tanya, she's joining us, who joined us for our meetup a month ago now. Was it a month ago now, Nev?
Yeah, about that, yes.
Yeah. We have got, we scroll down, Dirk S. says, good evening, folks. Darren Smith, a shot of whiskey every evening. Yeah, I could do with that. David Bone, hello to you as well. The lovely Masha says, good evening, everyone. We've got Jason Trussell. Hello, Jason. Evening all, he says, hope everyone's well. Mince pies and a cup of tea at the ready.
Yes. Really? It's October, so you've got to have mince pies, isn't it? I mean, just the preamble for the main event, surely.
It is a preamble for the main event. So thank you to everyone who's joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening, and all those watching on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to this week's show.
Just also got to say, Carlos, thank you very much to John Falk for your contributions. It got lost in the Patreon software somewhere, which is why we didn't read your name out the other day. So I do apologise for that. But thank you for giving us a nudge, and you are now a fully paid up member, and we shall read your name out every month. So thanks ever so much indeed for your contribution.
Yeah, Patreon is a funny old website. They had a rejig of their homepage about a month or two ago.
Why do they have to fiddle with it? Why can't they just leave it as it is? Honestly,
it takes you like 5 hours to find the tab to click on to bring up the list of the Patreons. It's just an absolute nightmare, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Nev said, leave it alone. Something's fixed, don't break it, honestly. So, Nev, would you like to kick off the show and introduce the first segment?
Yes, got lots of stuff to talk to you about and discuss with you this week in the commercial airline section.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
So, the first story this week comes to us from themirror.co.uk. Major UK airports' new check-in rules gives budget airline passengers more time to relax. So, one of the UK's major airports has introduced a new check-in service that will ease the burden of early morning flights. The new check-in option will ensure budget travellers are ready to relax and unwind before their flight. Liverpool John Lennon Airport is the latest airport in the UK to introduce twilight bag drop and check-in services. Many airlines have introduced twilight bag drop to ease stress on travellers and check-in desks, especially during heavy travel periods. Twilight bag drop services will allow passengers to arrive at the airport the night before their scheduled departure, check in their bags or their large bags the night before the check-in window. And according to Liverpool's John Lennon Airport website, twilight check-in is now available at the airport, making it easier for you to turn up the night before to check in your hold luggage. Twilight services were previously only available for passengers flying with Jet2 and Jet2 holidays. However, recent announcement has confirmed expanded availability. An Amber Alert announcement from the airport reads, passengers travelling with EasyJet, Jet2 and Ryanair departing on flights before 8 a.m. can all now check in their hold luggage up to 3 hours before their departure, giving more time to relax and make use of the facilities in the departure lounge. The service is particularly convenient for anyone living or staying close to their departure airport, but again, not every airline offers the service, so it's best to check with your tour operator first. The first step of Twilight check-ins is to complete online check-in via the Jet2's website app and through their travel agent at least 24 hours before the flight. Check-in luggage can then be dropped off at the Jet2 desks at Liverpool Airport between 4:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. the evening before the scheduled departure. The following morning, passengers can go straight through security bypassing the check-in entirely, and passengers driving to the airport can make use of twilight check-in services as well and park at the airport's drop-off to car park. Travellers get 1 hour's complimentary parking, blimey, to check in their bags, but anything over that time or the use of other car parks will be subject to standard parking fees, so about 10 grand. Liverpool John Lennon Airport also urges passengers to arrive a minimum of 2 hours before departure to allow enough time to check in and pass through security. Did BA offer this, Nev?
No, but they don't need to, you see, because they've got their own lounges in most places. But I have to, this is me being very cynical, so I'd like to apologise in advance, and also for my many Scouse friends that I know in the Liverpool area. It says they'll be giving more time to relax and make use of the facilities in the departure lounge. You know what that means, don't you? More beer at 5 a.m.
Oh, no.
So there's the poor departure teams at the gates have already got problems with people getting loaded up on alcohol before they get on the flight, and this has the potential for making it even worse, I would have thought. But if not, then I stand corrected. But I think this is a problem because the bars are open. I've not been to Liverpool for ages, but I mean the bars are open first thing, and they're having their 5:30 lager with their bacon sandwiches and what have you. So, and also, who is going to go to the airport the previous night to drop bags? And I don't get that at all. That's not the. I really don't think that's the model that's going to work for the airport particularly. But I mean, once again, if it all works, everybody's happy, then I stand corrected. But I just think it's got the potential for things going awry, shall we say. Yeah,
I agree with you, Nev. The booze bus is there. Oh dear. Anyway, on to more pleasant stories. Nev, heading to BA for this, and I've got some awesome pictures of this, these seats as well. So yeah.
Yes. Well, let's have a look at this then. We're moving up a gear now. It's on the nerdwallet.com. Following on from last week's story about premium economy, there's a guide here to BA's premium economy services. Well, for many passengers, the main reason to book premium economy instead of economy is the larger seats, and BA certainly delivers in this regard. Compared with economy, BA World Traveller Plus gives you more space in all directions, more seat width, legroom and recline. Tall passengers can rejoice with BA's premium economy providing 7 inches of additional legroom, measuring 38 inches of pitch versus just 31 inches of pitch in economy. In addition to a substantial recline, BA's premium economy seats offer a fold-out leg rest and a fold-down footrest. Throughout the cabin, you'll find a large fixed armrest between each seat. Although this slightly reduces seat width, it means that you shouldn't need to battle your neighbour for control of the armrest. Oh yes, we've all done that, haven't we? At the front of each armrest is a cup tray providing enough space for 2 glasses, and you'll find a water bottle holder between the footrests in each seat pairing. Well, depending on the aircraft type, the BA Premium Economy cabin is either arranged 2-3-2 or 2-4-2. This means that there are 2 seats by the windows and 3 or 4 seats in the middle column of seats. And this arrangement makes BA's Premium Economy a great option for couples travelling together who prefer to have their own 2-seat row. Well, each of the BA Economy Premium Economy seat has a large, bright 12-inch touchscreen with seemingly endless entertainment options. This is a substantial upgrade from what BA's offered prior to a recent cabin refresh. And you can see, you might have seen some pictures of BA installing a storage tray as well. And this provides a convenient place to store your phone, passport, boarding pass or other items you want nearby, but not in your pockets whilst in flight. Amenities and other perks include, it doesn't just provide bigger seats and bigger meals, but the World Traveller Plus passengers also get better amenities and additional perks such as priority boarding. They also have an amenity kit, pillow and blanket. And at boarding, World Traveller Plus seats are typically stocked with a small pillow, blanket and a plastic wrapped package, including noise cancelling headphones and an amenity kit. Other perks include 2 free check bags. Comparatively, some BA economy fares are hand baggage only, so that's a no-cost item, and often charge up to $175 each way for 2 checked bags. With priority boarding, BA World Traveller Plus passengers board no later than Group 3. Meanwhile, economy boarding groups stretch out to Group 9. On the power side of things, the recent refresh to BA's economy cabins only provides USB power outlets in economy. However, you'll still find 2 universal power outlets between each pairing of World Traveller Plus seats, in addition to a USB outlet. Now, we've done a quick P2UK price comparison for you. So we looked at a return flight leaving in March next year, non-stop from London Heathrow to New York JFK, and these are the prices that we came back with. So standard economy on BA is £722, that's about $970. Premium economy, 956 sterling, 1284 US dollars, and business class, £2,983 or 4,009 US dollars. So the difference between economy and premium is £234 or 314 US dollars. So the question for you, the listener, is would you pay the extra for the premium? Well, I certainly would. I've got to say that's not very much for quite a substantial upgrade, and I must say I do quite like the World Traveller Plus cabins in BA. They've done a nice job with that, and it does feel quite or reasonably exclusive, I would say, in that area. And actually, I think the meal selection is slightly better as well. But these are on the longer haul sector, so the World Traveller Plus, not on the Club Europe sectors around Europe. But I think that's a good value. Carlos, what do you think?
Yeah, I think for that price, so as Nev was saying there, so the difference between economy and premium being that £234 or $314 roughly, with the exchange rate as it is. For me, if I was booking that economy ticket to fly out to New York, I would 100% pay the extra £234 or $314 to upgrade to the premium economy package, because I think with the level of service, the food, as you said, Nev, the seat pitch, the leg, the whole experience is I think worth it for that extra couple of £100 thereabouts. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to hear, if you're listening to us as an audio podcast, it'll be interesting if you email us in what your thoughts are on that. Would you stump up the extra, £234 if you're in the UK, or $314 in the US for that upgrade to premium economy? What do you think of the difference then there between that and business class? It's quite a jump, isn't it?
As we say in the company I used to work for, it's reassuringly expensive. But, and of course the thing is that if it's a New York sector, that's not a very long sector really. I mean, it's 7.5 hours going, probably maybe 8 at a push, and it's 6 and a bit coming back, sometimes less. If it was to the West Coast, San Francisco and LA and what have you, or maybe to Dallas, then that might be okay. But that's quite a premium fare for the East Coast routes. Although I've got to say it's probably comparable with United, American, Virgin Atlantic, and some of the others, and JetBlue probably as well. But so yeah, it's a huge uplift, but it will always be so. Yeah. I think. But but I would for me, I would definitely pay the extra, or save up for the extra to go for the premium economy over standard. Yeah.
Just looking at the chat room, Nev, to see what everyone's saying in there. John Falker said, for overnight trips, yes, but maybe not for daytime trips. Tanya's put an extra $300 plus. I probably wouldn't, but I'm a small woman, she says. Fair enough. I tell you what, I definitely wouldn't make the jump to business, not unless I was feeling very frivolous with the money. Not at that price, £2,983. But I tell you what, Nev, all jokes aside, if you buy a premium economy ticket, I have had it in the past where you get those emails from BA a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before you fly to say, oh, would you like to upgrade to business class? We're offering it to you for, to 300, 400 quid or whatever.
Yeah. No, I think so. And I mean, I would do that. In fact, I did it a lot when I was working, because very often we were expected to work at the other end. It wasn't just a sort of a relaxing day. We had to we had a bit of a chance to wash and brush up, then we had to work. But the company would never pay for more than premium economy if the flight was over 8 hours, which of course it's not going to New York from London. It's I think it's, if you can hang on and you find you get offers nearer to your departure date, that's probably the best offer you're going to get. With BA, there's hardly ever any gate upgrades. I don't think they even do them these days.
I'll tell you what, Nev, one thing I didn't say was that when I'd done this comparison on the website the other day, I actually did look at flights leaving this weekend. So I was in booking a flight leaving this weekend, and the prices were quite a bit different to what we've just read out on there. Yeah. So it did prove a fact that if you book ahead, it is a lot cheaper than if you leave it till last minute. So there we go.
Well, it's the supply and demand thing, isn't it? As always. But I mean, considering how, it's quite interesting, isn't it? How many flights, I forget how many flights go from, we'll say the UK, so I'm going to include Edinburgh, Manchester, Birmingham, and all the rest of it, to New York every day. It's a lot across all the carriers. And yet the price, it hasn't really changed over the years, because they know they're going to get not quite a full flight, but mostly full. So they're going to get very good occupancy, I would say. So they can charge £722 for an economy ticket. So, amazing that.
Right, next story, Nev. This one comes to us from walesonline.co.uk. And how much would you be prepared, Nev, to pay for a second bag on your flight if you had to take an
I think suitcase? Probably about £30 sterling. Okay.
Well, this airline apparently charged a man an extra £1,100 to take a second bag on a £312 flight. A man was charged over £1,000 to take one extra suitcase on his Qatar Airways flight. Andy Donovan planned a trip to Kingsbury, Melbourne for 6 months to play cricket over the Australian summer. He booked a Cathay Pacific flight, which included a transfer in Hong Kong, but he switched his ticket that morning for a Qatar Airways flight to Melbourne via Doha. When he saw the Super Typhoon Regasa, he was heading for Hong Kong. The flight on September the 22nd cost him £312.28 to book. Andy's bag allowance changed with his flights and was reduced to one bag of checked luggage rather than two, as his Cathay Pacific flight had been. As Andy needed two suitcases, one for his possessions and a second for his cricket gear, he attempted to buy an extra bag on the Qatar Airways flight and on their website, but claims it kept crashing. So he resolved to pay at the airport rather than the website, until, to his horror, he was charged £1,103.72 for his additional 25-kilo bag. Andy, a marketing executive from Exeter, said he thought he could pay for the extra luggage in person. He said he thought it would be more money, but didn't think it would be that much more money. It was several times the cost of the actual ticket and didn't make sense. He said he was in shock. He had no choice but to pay because he needed his kit. It's all personalised for his specifications, so he couldn't just replace it. They charge you per kilo. You're over the limit. And he had a whole extra 25-kilo bag. He wasn't offered to buy a whole extra bag at the airport, and Andy said it wasn't explained to him how the charge was calculated, but he paid it so he could still fly. Qatar's website states that within 6 hours of departure, per additional kilo of luggage, there is a $60 or £44.60 charge. and he plays apparently for the Philippines national cricket team. Barry said that both he and Andy have attempted to contact Qatar Airways but have not received any response. He added that how many other people have they done this to? It's just not right. So I'm going to pop the picture on the screen there first. Here we go, Nev. That's the bag.
Oh,
which he wanted to take with him on the flight. So it's a sizable rucksack, and there we go. There is the bill, the credit card receipt bill that he had from Qatar for said case to prove that he paid that much money. So,
well, I hope he's got sympathetic team manager if he can give that receipt to them to pay it. Now, the thing is that airlines and baggage and all the rest of it, if you start changing things at the last minute, you would expect to pay a premium, wouldn't you? And that's fair enough. But that much of a premium, I think that's a bit wide of the mark, don't you?
Dirk Guest is saying in the chat room he could have sent it by courier.
Well, he could also bought a second-hand car and maybe driven it there himself, or get a friend to drive it for him. But no, I think there's always going to be these stories. But the thing is, with anything to do with airline travel, whether it's reticketing, changing your ticketing, or booking, or luggage allowance, changing things after the booking has been made, there will always be a premium. I think people accept that, but I think this is taking it to an entirely new level, isn't it, really?
Jason Trussell, Nev, in the chat room says, could he not have put the cricket gear on and worn it?
There you go. Definitely an option. He would have been warm, but at least he wouldn't have been so much out of pocket.
Mazouz makes quite a good point as well. Mazouz says, should have brought another seat and put the bag on the seat.
There you go. Yeah, that would have been a cheaper solution, definitely.
Yeah. Very good solution.
Oh dear,
honestly. But that does pay when you're booking flights and booking tickets and stuff. As I have just done, we're off to Dublin next week, end of next week, for my very good friends' stag weekend. And all the times I've flown with Ryanair a few times this year already. I think twice to Dublin. Oh yeah, twice to Dublin, once to Dublin, twice to Dublin. I can't remember that. But I still check on the app, and I still check my hand luggage cases, the right size, etc., etc. I still check every time, Nev, regardless of how many times I've flown, with airlines.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want to turn up without having first downloaded your boarding pass onto your phone, would you? Because if you ask them to print your boarding pass at Stansted, it won't be 1,100 quid, but it'll be a lot, won't it? Oh dear.
Anyway, Nev, you've got the next story, and I thought I'd put this one in your pocket, being it's all to do with your favourite brand of phone.
Yes, talking of boarding passes and the like, this is on paddleyourown.canoe.com, and it says that United Airlines has been the first airline to support the refreshed boarding passes in the latest version of Apple iOS, which includes a live activities widget for real-time flight updates built into the boarding pass, which you can share with friends and family. Apple announced the refreshed boarding pass experience during its Worldwide Developer Conference presentation in June, although the features have only now become available as part of the release of iOS 26. United is one of 10 initial airlines to have committed to making the new boarding pass feature available to passengers. The other airlines include Air Canada, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, excuse me, JetBlue, Jetstar, Lufthansa, Qantas, Southwest and Virgin Australia. However, it appears that United has beaten its rivals to actually supporting the new features. The highlights include live activities with real-time flight updates, the ability to share a flight's live activities with friends and family, airport maps built into the pass, quick access to Find My, to track and report lost luggage, access key services from an airline's app such as standby lists. Well, it probably shouldn't come as any surprise that United is the first airlines to launch these features, given that the Chicago-based carrier has been investing a lot in its digital customer experience in recent years. Earlier this year, for example, the airline added a personalised flight connections experience to its app, which displays helpful information like real-time flight updates, a countdown timer and turn-by-turn directions to the next gate, all in one easy-to-read page. The app also builds upon United's industry-leading Connection Saver tech that holds flights for a few minutes to give customers with a tight connection more time to reach the gate. Connection Saver utilises AI to work out whether holding a flight will realistically give customers with a tight connection time to make their flight, although working out how long the flight can be held without delaying the arrival of the plane at its destination. Launched in 2019, Connection Saver has been proven to be a huge hit, saving 3.3 million customer connections in the last 6 years alone. Now, this is all very interesting and exciting, I'm sure. However, live updates on flight status, especially when it comes to gate changes, whether your flight has been delayed and all that, whilst you're at the airport. Apple have got a bit of a history, and maybe other platform providers have as well, depending on how their software is written, of you not getting a proper update unless you refresh your display. I don't know whether it happens on your platform of choice, Carlos, but so yeah, if you're not careful, you can actually miss an update if you haven't refreshed. Now, sometimes it comes through, but sometimes it doesn't as well. So it's always worth double checking, I think, about these things. But that said, if there's a proper widget to do this stuff, it makes the user experience better and it's reliable, then so much, for the good, I would say. So hopefully that will save people some time, especially when navigating around the airport as well. That's always a good thing. But a lot of those facilities, I have to say, are already available, but just available in different ways. So Flight Radar 24, for example, often you find that the departure gate is available on there, Flight Aware rather. You'll find the gate is available there before the app gets it as well, or the airline's app. But nonetheless, if it's an improvement and it helps people, then that's a good thing.
I was impressed actually, Nev, because Gemma obviously flew back from Malta on Saturday with EasyJet. And because it was booked through my account, the EasyJet holiday through the app. One of the things that their app does, Nev, is when the aircraft was leaving Gatwick to fly to Malta to pick the girls up, it alerted me on the app that the aircraft going to get them was airborne, and it gave me a map using Flight Radar 24 and told me when it was going to get there. And then as soon as the girls took off from Luqa Airport to fly back to Gatwick, it then alerted me again to say that the flight was airborne, this is where it was, ETA, etc., using Flight Radar 24 data, which I thought was really good. For an app. Yeah,
obviously that's already available on Flight Radar 24 and Flight Aware, isn't it? But actually, if they are porting that into the app or into other people's stuff, that's a useful facility. We're not all power users, are we, of that sort of thing? So for the people that aren't, that's a useful addition, I would have thought. Definitely.
It is. Yeah. Right, next story. Nev comes from mirror.co.uk, and see what you think of this, Nev. Major airline launches auction for passengers to keep seat next to them empty. Great news if you hate being bunched next to strangers while flying. A major airline is now allowing passengers to bid to keep the seat next to them empty. The handy new scheme, launched by Virgin Australia, will allow flight passengers to have 2 seats instead of 1. The neighbour free seating option will be available for travellers heading on either domestic and short-haul or international flights. If they select the new option, economy passengers can place a bid through the airline's app to reserve an additional seat next to them, with the auction starting for as little as £14 or £14, but rising upon demand. Successful passengers will be informed 2 hours before their flight departure if they have their free seat, reports The Sun. Of course, there is a possibility that someone may book that empty seat. In this case, the winning passenger will be immediately refunded, which is always a good idea. It's also important to note that while the neighbour-free seating provides extra personal space next to the assigned seat, it does not include any additional baggage allowance. Yeah. According to Virgin Australia, the new option means passengers will have a more spacious economy experience at great value. The new feature comes after a 2023 survey which found that 42% of Virgin Australia passengers said they would consider paying a fee to have the middle seat empty on international flights or internal flights longer than 3 hours. Additionally, 35% of passengers also said they would do the same for domestic flights of more than 3 hours. Virgin Australia's executive Libby Minogue said, "Our priority is to give Virgin Australia guests even more value and choice when they choose to fly with us." She added that neighbour-free seating is a clever add-on for economy travellers who want the certainty of extra space without the price tag. After booking their flight, passengers can bid for the additional seat via the Virgin Australia app. A similar feature is offered by other airlines like Qantas and Air France, and those flying with Air France have the option to pay for the empty seat option or My Extra Space when they check in online through the airline's app, allowing them to reserve up to 3 empty seats next to their own for greater comfort, space and privacy. 3 extra seats.
Wow.
I mean, I can see the point in that, because with 3 seats, at least then you could put the armrests up. If you're on a long-haul flight with, say, a centre row being 4 seats, you could put all the armrests up and have a fully lie-flat bed almost, Nev.
Yeah, and I get this, but I'm sure that, I mean, well, they're saying that the auction or the bidding for it starts as little as £14, but sterling, but you can bet that will go quite high according to the load factor on the aircraft at the time. And of course, with generally speaking, reduction in flights in many cases to some sectors and some routes, it's very rare to have empty seats on any of the aircraft. But I mean, if there's a way of doing this and it can work, then that's fine. But I think, yeah, it's interesting that they said that 42% of Virgin Australia passengers said that they would consider paying a fee to have the middle seat empty on international flights longer than 3 hours. Yeah, that I get that completely. Yeah,
because when you fly with BA Nev in business on the short haul flights, they block off that centre seat, don't they?
They do, yes,
kind
yeah,
of treat.
Yeah. So the whole the Club Europe cabin is 2 plus 2 basically. The middle seat is not occupied at all. And if you think about it, often you can get as many as 10 or 11 rows of Club Europe, maybe more sometimes. That's quite a lot of revenue loss in one sense, but of course the premium that the business class passengers are paying anyway maybe make up for some of that. So BA have always, or in the most recent years, blocked off the middle seat. There was an occasion when it wasn't, and I think they had some exceptional problem with a aircraft that had gone tech down route, so they I think offered some Avios as a bonus or part of a refund in the end. But so BA always do that. But I can see why this might be appealing, certainly on the longer haul flights.
David Bone, Nev, says in the chat room he did an overnight apparently from Dubai to Heathrow and did exactly that. The 4 seats were free, so it basically became a lie flat seat in economy. So, it is. And to be fair, David, I have done that myself on a Delta flight back from Vegas many years ago. Me and Gemma flew back on the 767-400 and put all the armrests up to have a very nice, very comfortable, actually, bed. Jenny over in Rome says you can book the seat beside you on Ryanair. You pay the basic seat price, but no taxes or other fees. So if you book early. There we go.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah. Know that. Okay.
Yeah. Captain Cruise has followed up with the scheme is named "Pay to have the seat next to you unoccupied which it would otherwise be anyway.
Yes.
I like that one. It's a potluck, isn't it? I think if you're flying with EasyJet or Ryanair within Europe, it's very rare. I think I can count the amount of times on one hand that I've flown an EasyJet or Ryanair flight where there's been spare seats. There very rarely is spare seats. I don't know about you, Nev, with BA, but
a bit more, yes, a few more spare, but not that many. Certainly, economy is nearly always fully booked. Club Europe, not always fully booked, but yeah. But no, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I think that if there's creative ways of doing these things and it improves the passenger experience a bit, even though there's always a cost associated with it.
it's a good idea. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, it might work.
Now, Nev, you've got the next story, and we're big fans of simulators, aren't we?
We are, and it's on the avitrader.com. It says that KLM has officially commissioned the first Airbus A350 simulator in the Netherlands, which is a major step in preparing for the arrival of the A350 aircraft in its fleet by the end of 2026. The new simulator gives KLM pilots the chance to train on the latest technologies and operational procedures in a safe and realistic environment. Well, the simulator was designed and built by CAE in Montreal, where the acceptance process mirrored that of a new aircraft. Engineers carry out extensive testing of the cockpit and systems before shipping the simulator to Europe in separate parts. Installation at Schiphol East proved a challenge as the machine was too large to pass through the main gate. But to solve the problem, it was hoisted over the fence before being assembled and made ready for operation. The first group of KLM's A350 pilots will begin their training on the device in the coming weeks. Well, the introduction of the A350 is part of KLM's long-term strategy to modernise its fleet and improve sustainability. The aircraft offers significant environmental benefits, and it produces up to 40% less noise and uses 25% less fuel than earlier models. Built with advanced materials such as composites in titanium, the A350 combines strength with reduced weight, enabling longer flight ranges whilst lowering emissions. By investing in modern aircraft and state-of-the-art technology, KLM is ensuring that its pilots are prepared for the future. And the new simulator not only supports safe and efficient operations, but reflects KLM's commitment to innovation and sustainability in global aviation. Well, apart from the fact that I do like the A350 a lot, this is a big departure for KLM, isn't it? I mean, they're already running A321s and A320s, I think. And this is obviously to complement the long-haul fleet. So they were a Boeing customer for many, many years. So this is quite a big departure from them. I haven't got the information to hand about what the order book is like for Airbus from KLM, but this is a big move in a different direction for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lovely looking aircraft. Just pop the picture up on the screen there, Nev, of the rendered picture, I should say, of the 350 with the KLM logo and livery on there. But yeah, I was just looking at that picture I popped up on the screen earlier. I don't know if you saw that, Nev, of the sim. There, I'll pop up on the screen again. I don't know if you can see that, Nev, of the CAE sim there.
Oh yes,
looks very reminiscent of. That
looks like we were at Gatwick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, on the A320. So yeah, no, brilliant. Is that a Dash 900 or a 1000 they're ordering? I can't remember now.
I don't know. I think is it Dash 900? I think.
I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, either model, brilliant. I just love the A350. 350. It's one of the quietest aircraft I've been on, and really comfortable flight, as we know from the one that we flew back on from Dubai, which was 3 weeks old. That was brilliant, wasn't it?
Very nice, yeah.
Glad we had the opportunity to do that.
So next one comes from the Independent, Nev. It's American Airlines removing bag sizes from airport gates. Oh, have you ever used one then, Nev?
Oh, dear. No. I wouldn't even know what one is.
So American Airlines, good news for our US listeners, has announced it is changing one of its rules for carry-on baggage in an attempt to make boarding processes much quicker. Starting from Monday, the airline will be removing bag sizes from its gates across the country, according to a statement made to Nexstar's KTLA on Sunday last week. Although the size of a carry-on will no longer be checked while boarding the plane, it should not be used as an excuse to bring larger luggage. Well, obviously, people are going to do that now. Team members will continue to monitor carry-on baggage in the lobby and at the gates, and oversized items will be required to be checked in ahead of the flight, the airline said. According to the airline's website, American allows passengers to bring one personal item and one carry-on piece of luggage on board. The personal item must fit under the seat in front of the passenger and should not exceed 18 by 14 by 8 inches. The carry-on can either fit under the seat or in front of the passenger or in the overhead compartment. The total size of the carry-on, including the handle and wheels, cannot exceed 22 by 14 by 9 inches. The update on the bag sizes comes a year after American Airlines announced other changes being made to its boarding process. Last year, the airline announced that they were testing a new piece of boarding technology. Now, when a ticket is scanned during the boarding process, a staff member can detect what zone the person is supposed to be in, and they'll be notified if a passenger is boarding too early. That way, when someone attempts to board the aircraft alongside Nev, who's in BA business class, with all the other priority passengers, they'll be directed to the back of the line. Staff will be able to clear the notification and allow passengers to board early if there is a valid reason.
Oh, dear. What could possibly go wrong? My old boss, Stephen, that I used to work with, he always said that the sizing, he says, as far as he's concerned, is merely a suggestion. Not a hard-coded absolute situation. But I can see there's going to be trouble here, isn't there? With people either having their own interpretation of sizes or being in the wrong queue or, oh dear. Yeah. I mean, I do get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand that there's got to be some limits on this stuff, but there's always arguments over baggage size and what should be checked in and what can be taken as hand luggage. Now, you could say that the airlines have got an absolute unwavering situation on this because they have absolute weights, they have absolute sizes. And if your bag does not meet that criteria, then you've got to do the other thing, which is either check the bag in or whatever it is. But in the heat of boarding an aircraft, then this has got the potential for a little local difficulty, as somebody once said. Yeah.
I don't know about you, Ned, but I always find that my carry-on little mini suitcase for the overhead bin is a solid shell, hard shell case, and it is made to be within the regulations for Ryanair and BA and EasyJet, etc., etc. And it's a damn good case. It's one of the best things I brought off Amazon last year. But I also do have a material hand luggage suitcase with wheels. Which I think I used when I was with you, flying with you before.
Yes.
A red Samsonite one, which, again, meets the regulation size for the airlines. But if you do fill it full of clothes, and I mean fill it full of clothes, it does bulk out slightly, which would then make it not fit in the luggage size framework things.
Yeah, it's but no, this is where argy-bargy happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the gate. We've all seen it. I saw it at Belfast City a couple of years ago. Oh, it was just so painful. Yeah. But yeah, it's. I think the problem is because in the good old days, and I'm going back for a couple of decades at least now, these things were never really considered an issue. But, with space being more of a premium now and the way that you never used to be charged for check-in luggage, I'm going back probably 30 years, it was part of your ticket. And actually you might say that might be a better thing to go back to, possibly. I don't know. But and this is why people end up with lots of hand luggage and as you say, bulging at the seams stuff as well. But it's another problem. Before you even start flying the blinking thing, the stuff which is likely to delay them shutting the doors on the aircraft.
Well, Nev, you have the next story. I love this when I saw this, because it does open the options up for someone who may not be able to afford to fly business class, but the pictures are quite good for this one.
Yeah, I agree. And it's on thesun.co.uk. It says that Thai Airways has launched lie-flat beds for non-business class passengers. On Facebook, Thai Airways announced its new Premium Economy Plus seats that can turn into flat beds. The airline has advertised them as spacious seats with generous legroom and exclusive services throughout your journey, with a new level of comfort in the sky. In the images which Carlos is bringing up are herringbone designed seats that face inwards away from the windows, with entertainment screens to the side on the internal walls. Whilst these are a new addition for Thai Airways, some passengers may have flown in these seats with another airline. Thai Airways recently acquired the Airbus A330-300s that formerly flew for Virgin Atlantic, which had these 31-seat herringbone arrangements. There's one big difference, though. For Virgin Atlantic customers, these seats were once in upper class. People were quick to point out that they recognised them too. On the social media announcement, one man wrote in his comments, "Premium Economy Plus. These are the old, highly unpopular Virgin Atlantic's coffin business class seats. As long as they are much cheaper than business/royal silk class, they will be acceptable." Another one person wasn't happy and added, "That's the now outdated Virgin Atlantic upper class they rolled out around 2002 to 2003. Please don't tell me this is what you're offering your business class passengers." Well, the plane will be available on routes from Bangkok to Chennai, Dakar, Hyderabad, Jakarta and Kathmandu starting on October the 26th, later this month. According to One Mile at a Time, the reason for Thai Airways selling these seats at Premium Economy Plus rather than business or upper class is because of the lack of demand. Interesting. Now, I've not seen these seats before because I've not flown on a Virgin Atlantic A330-300 previously. So, but yeah, an interesting departure from what you would expect.
It is, when you look at these seats now, and obviously it says lie flat seats, you are moving so far away from a standard economy, even from a premium economy seat, which doesn't, that's the only one that lays flat with this particular airline. So you're losing that whole monetary sort of switch from like an economy ticket, which is like £2 or whatever, to a premium economy, which is X amount of money, and now you're going to lay in a premium economy seat that lies flat and has a good level of service, which technically you'd class as a business class seat if you were flying with any other airline, but it's a premium economy seat. So I wonder what their business class seats are like with these aircraft, if they do have a business class section, that is.
Well, yes. I think the other thing is, of course, the revenue, as we all know, comes from the first and business class seat passengers that have paid the full fare or even a slightly reduced fare for their seats. So offering this kind of thing might reduce the revenue slightly, but it's another option, isn't it? And I think airlines have been playing around with the ideas of different things. If they've acquired some aircraft that already have this configuration, they thought, well, let's give it a go. Let's see if it's a popular thing for some of our customers.
I'll tell you what, we were talking earlier, weren't we, Nev, on the show about BA obviously offering that premium economy for a few £100 more. Imagine if you're paying a few £100 more, for your ticket price to have a fully lie flat seat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good. Right. Next story is coming to us from halldale.com. It's open house highlights pilot pathway to American Airlines. So good news for our US listeners. An ATP flight school and American Airlines welcomed nearly 250 students and aspiring pilots to Concord Regional Airport in Charlotte, North Carolina on September the 24th. I know Armando knows that airport very well. The open house event showcased the partnership between ATP and American Airlines through the American Airlines Cadet Academy. Held at ATP's Charlotte Training Centre, the event brought together current students, prospective students and cadets, alumni and airline recruiters. Attendees toured a PSA Airlines CRJ 900 jet and spoke with representatives from American Airlines Federal Credit Union and regional carriers Envoy Air, Piedmont Airlines and PSA Airlines. ATP Vice President of Training Support Mike Weinstein. That's a name and a half. We need Tanya here to pronounce that one.
I think that's
Wisniewski,
I think.
There we go. And he was the Vice President of Flight Operations. Captain Alan Johnson, that's an easy one, addressed attendees discussing the pilot demand and the pathway from training to airline careers. Additional speakers from ATP and American Airlines highlighted training programs, hiring processes and opportunities to advance from regional airlines to mainline operators. The Career Expo also took place, allowing ATP students to meet airline recruiters, mentors from American's wholly owned regional airlines. Ashley Pillion, Director of Airline and Corporate Partnerships at ATP Flight School, said the strength of ATP's airlines hiring partnerships was on full display, and ATP excels in providing graduates with a structured career path backed by major airlines. The American Airlines cadets are joined by 2,700 students nationwide training in ATP's airline career program, all on the most efficient path towards a successful airline pilot career, it says. The event emphasised career opportunities available to cadets and the ongoing collaboration between ATP and American Airlines to support pilot development. So good news if you're in the US and you want to be a commercial airline pilot. But we don't have something, similar to this here in the UK, Nev, the way where you can kind of have that level of attendees, 2,500, 2,700, was it there? Yeah, students.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about recruitment, isn't it? That it's preparing for the next phase, really, and more pilots, captains, and first officers are retiring, so that they need more people coming through the system. And if there's an initiative like this going on, that's got to be great, isn't it? But yeah, I'd like to see more of that around the rest of the world. Big recruitment drives and programs and funding for this sort of thing, because that's what makes it all work. And it's all terribly interlinked, isn't it? We've got manufacturers coming out with new variants of their aircraft and all the rest of it. You've got to have the guys and girls to fly it. I know that's an obvious thing, but the recruitment drive has been massive in the last couple of years, and this is just another example of it, isn't it?
No, it's good. Good for the young people. Good for the young people.
Yeah.
Right, Nev, when I started this podcast back many years ago, I never thought that we would read a headline that says this, Nev.
Well, this is what we've been waiting for, or if you're an Airbus aficionado, that is. It's on Reuters.com, and it says Europe's Airbus broke a major commercial barrier on Tuesday of this week when its A320 family of planes overtook the Boeing 737 to become the most delivered jetliner in history. Boeing's decades-old record fell with the handover of an A320neo model overnight to Saudi carrier Flynas, bringing total deliveries to 12,260 since the A320 series entered service in 1988, according to benchmark data from UK-based aviation and analytics firm Cirium. Airbus and Boeing did not immediately respond to requests for comment on the data, tracked by leading aircraft supply analyst Rob Morris. Demand for the industry's workhorse A320 and 737 jets has surged in recent years as economic growth led by Asia brought tens of millions of new middle-class travellers into the sky. Together, Boeing and Airbus have delivered more than 25,000 of these jets, originally designed to serve major hubs, but later widely adopted by low-cost carriers, which Airbus courted after Boeing cut output during a downturn in demand post 9/11. Just think about that, when 9/11 was and how long ago that was to get us to where we are now. And they've identified, a gap in the market. So already the world's largest plane maker by annual deliveries, Airbus now claims the top spot for cumulative narrow-body deliveries, capping a 40-year transatlantic battle for market share after early disagreements over strategy and the share of jobs amongst partner nations, France, Germany, Spain and Great Britain. Well, launched in 1984, the A320 emerged at a time when Airbus's future was far from assured, following the rocky introduction of two wide-bodied jets. The aircraft first flew in 1987 and entered service the following year. Well, engineers in Toulouse, France, took an ambitious step by introducing fly-by-wire computer control to a mainstream airliner, a pioneering move that met resistance from unions and some carriers, but ultimately became an industry standard. The brainchild of Airbus's co-founder Roger Betaille, its development was shaped by arguments over whether to prioritise US airline demands for a jet in the new 150-seat market supported by the French, or continue to focus on wide bodies, which was backed by Lufthansa. Industry sources say that neither Airbus nor Boeing is in a rush to replace their cash generating current models. Boeing is mired in debt, whilst Airbus enjoys a price premium and booming sales. Executive from both companies told the International Society of Transport Aircraft Trading, ISAT, conference in Prague on Monday that new developments are unlikely until there are further advances in areas including engine technology. Boeing can't catch up with the A320 family based on their respective production plans, but it may strengthen Boeing's resolve to think about a future beyond the 737 when the conditions are right, Rob Morris said. Gosh, I mean, it's taken a while, hasn't it? But they've finally done it. But I do think, and I know a few, people like Andy and Captain L and a few others, have said that Boeing just need to start with a brand new platform, trying to get all of this extra work out of the 737, which was originally, it goes back to the 1967-68 design and this kind of thing. All the difficulties they've had with re-engineering of these aircraft and flight control systems and what have you. It's been a lot of work, hasn't it? But, mind you, having said that, when Airbus have had their fair share of problems as well, that very high-profile crash at the one of the air shows as well. That
the one where it flew into the forest, Nev.
Yeah. And some other, software bits and pieces that have gone on, but it's proved to be a very successful platform. And what's been really important for Airbus is the type rating commonality, A318, 19, 20, 21, and then only, I'm not sure what the differences are to go from an A321 to an A350. I think it's probably more than just computer-based training required, but nonetheless, it's not such a big leap to do that. And I think keeping cockpit commonality has saved, the companies, the airlines, an absolute fortune in training, whilst making sure that their crews are doing everything that they should be doing.
I have to admit, when we were in Malta in June, we were flying back to the UK, looking out at the apron, Nev, at Luqa Airport. When you look across, because most of the stands at Malta are remote stands, apart from the few that are in front of the gate, nearly every aircraft on a stand was an Airbus, albeit most of them were 320s. There was a couple of 321s there, but nearly all those aircraft were Airbus A320s at that airport.
Well, yeah, and I was just looking at some Big Jet TV coverage. Was it today? No, it was maybe last week, I think it was, Saturday. And all the short-haul stuff is Airbus. Very rarely do you see a 737 coming to Heathrow these days. Hardly any operators now. So, yeah, it tells you a lot, doesn't it? But no, it's been a very successful period. Thank you, Captain Cruz. Absheim was the air show that I was thinking of, where there was that original A320 accident. But, yeah, amazing, isn't it?
Darren
Incredible.
Smith makes a good point, actually, Nev, in the chat room, says that had the two Maxes not have crashed, do we think that things would be different?
I think trying to work out things in a retrospective sense is always difficult, isn't it? Maybe not. And the trouble is, it's such a high-profile situation, and it just went. I mean, it was wall-to-wall coverage. Now, there was also a lot of misinformation about the whole thing as well, which never seems to trouble the mainstream media. You know, if it's a story, that they'll put it out there without properly checking what the real facts are in many cases. Nonetheless, the publicity that went with that was horrific for the company, and goodness knows how much it's cost Boeing. Not just with compensation, but with re-engineering and everything else. Must be a massive number.
Should have kept the 7.5. Should have re-engined the 7.5. But we've said that many times
there
before
we are.
on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. That's my thought. Right. That's the end of the commercial segment for this week. And Nev, time to hand things over to you for the next part of the show.
Yeah, well, this week we go back to 1987 to a comedy duo that really did use all that BA had to offer, minus the 4 candles.
Two of London's top football managers, Ron Smart and Ron Slack, are in the race to sign United's star player. So it's the early morning shuttle to Manchester. Using Hertz Super Shuttle Drive, Ron Smart rents his car in the British Airways departure lounge. He gets Hertz computerized driving directions and a rate that includes everything, even petrol. Ron Slack will rent his car in Manchester. On arrival, while Ron Slack is queuing to do his paperwork, Ron Smart walks straight to his car. Ron Slack has to rely on local driving directions. So Ron Smart beats his rival by a short head thanks to Hertz. And Ron Slack beats his head until it hurts. Using his Hertz optional phone, Ron Smart gives his chairman the good news. But Ron Slack will have to wait to break the news of his signing. You'll fly with Hertz Super Shuttle Drive.
Oh, marvellous. Now, for those of you that were listening just as the audio podcast, that was the two Ronnies featuring in that very popular comedy duo back in the 70s, 80s and 90s, actually probably going back to the 60s, in fact, and it was a staple of Saturday night television for many of us. But particularly amusing, I thought, in that advert.
It's so good. When I found that, Nev, honestly, I was so chuffed when I found that advert. I thought, I've got to get that one for the show. Especially because obviously it had the two Ronnies in there, two of our absolutely fantastic comedians here in the UK. There's a few comments in the chat room, Nev. Captain Cruz says, what? A luxurious Ford Sierra?
Well, I hate to correct Captain Cruz because he's normally right on every single subject, but that was, I think, I'm right in saying, a Mark III Granada.
Ah, yeah.
So it was called the Scorpio in Germany, I think. Came out of the Cologne factory. Incredible. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, such a good ad. I think in the not too distant future we'll play that again. David Bone in the chat room, Nev, is saying that the BA and Hertz relationship lasted for an incredible length of time, apparently.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, in fact, you would always earn Avios points and what have you. So they obviously had franchise agreements for many years. Incredible. But no, I'd forgotten all about that advert. I must say, it was brilliant to see it.
Oh, so good, so good.
Oh, brilliant.
Right, Nev, what's coming up now?
Well, after we've got our breath back after that, it's. I won't say it's my favourite part of the show, but it's becoming more interesting. I'm gradually learning more about military aviation.
What's up, bogies 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 108 bogies.
Now, you know when you see a story, Nev, and you think, this can't be right. These are brand new, nearly. But this comes from forcesnews.com, and the Royal Air Force Reaper flew its final operational mission, marking the end of 18 years of service. So the Royal Air Force's MQ-9 Reaper has flown its final operational mission, marking the end of an 18-year chapter for the remotely piloted aircraft. Introduced into service back in 2007, the Reaper was first deployed to support UK forces in Afghanistan before later joining coalition operations in Iraq, Syria under Operation Shader. Over its service life, the aircraft has flown more than 173,000 hours, the equivalent of almost 20 years in the air. Operated by the 9th Squadron from RAF Waddington, Lincolnshire, each Reaper mission involved a pilot, a sensor operator and a mission intelligence coordinator based in the UK, while the aircraft itself flew in the Middle East. They said it's a great honour to command the squadron at this historic time. Group Captain Stu McAdam, Officer Commanding Squadron, said, "It is with a heavy heart but immense pride to say we have flown our last mission and retire the MQ-9 Reaper from service following 18 years of continuous operations. With the introduction of the MQ-9B Protector, the future is certainly bright for the squadron and the wider remotely piloted air system enterprise." He said, "We have full confidence they will continue to deliver operational excellence for the Royal Air Force I-Star Force," he continued. The Reaper's retirement brings to a close almost 2 decades of near continuous operations for the Royal Air Force and Armed Force Drone, a system that has been evolutionised of the UK's remotely piloted air capability from an urgent wartime requirement to a permanent part of the service's fleet. So, Nev, I didn't even realise these have been about that long, to be fair.
No, I mean, and very often, well, it's obvious that the air forces around the world have to get the best usage out of the aircraft that they've got. No, I mean, I think it's the thing, isn't it? You know, things are changing rapidly, and they have to probably have to update things more quickly now than they did previously, to try and keep ahead of the enemy, as it were. So, it's in this service life, what did it say? 173,000 hours, the equivalent of almost 20 years in the air. So that's amazing, isn't it?
That's a long while. Yeah.
And think of all the maintenance, ground maintenance will be required on that aircraft to keep it operational as well. So amazing, absolutely amazing.
So from an 18-year-old unmanned aerial vehicle to a Top Gun style AI vehicle, Nev.
Yes, everything's AI these days, isn't it? Have you noticed? It's on interestingengineering.com. Excuse me. It says that pilots of the United States Air Force are learning the tricks to fly alongside drones, such as the XQ-58 Valkyrie, piloted with the help of artificial intelligence. The autonomous technology allows the drones to make decisions in a split second and maneuver as per the changing needs. Therefore, the pilots need to train alongside AI-flown drones to gain expertise on how fast the reactions are and how rough the ride can get. The AI guiding the drones has already learnt how to fly and is now also learning defensive mechanisms to help them fight in the near future. And the effort has already earned the nickname Top Gun AI. Major Trent McMullen of the US Air Force told CBS News about the experience of learning to fly alongside an XQ-58 drone piloted by AI. He opined that the tasks given to AI-piloted drones might include intercepting enemy aircraft. Well, the XQ-58 Valkyrie is a collaborative combat aircraft / autonomous collaborative platform and is designed to operate with joint and allied forces. It is a stealthy combat UAS developed by Kratos and showcased to the US Air Force as part of the low-cost attributable Drake Strike Demonstrator Program. Valkyrie aims to provide the US warfighters with a high-performance-to-cost, stealthy, highly capable collaborative aircraft. Kratos says that it can travel up to 3,000 nautical miles and reach a speed of Mach 0.086. And the drone can fly at altitudes of up to 45,000 feet and carry a maximum weight of 6,000 pounds. Now, of course, one of the limitations in the military world, I would imagine, is the amount of G that pilots are able to withstand. In the case of drones, there's very little restriction apart from perhaps, a construction one. So are we getting to a stage now where these drones and unmanned aircraft are able to outperform traditional aircraft because of the G restrictions?
Yeah, Darren Smith in the chat room says AI will take over the world. Just ask Arnie, and he obviously refers to the Terminator film where the whole world was taken over by AI. Funnily enough,
yeah.
But just going to pop the picture up there just quickly again of this particular aerial vehicle, because I mean, when you sort of think of drones and stuff being these small, kind of things.
I'm thinking Thunderbird 2.
Yeah, this is not small. I mean,
No.
I'm just waiting for the time when they have these flying at an air show, Nev. Can you imagine a UAV piloted drone show with things like this?
Can you imagine the risk assessment and all the stuff that the safety director would have to go through? But it's not beyond the possibility, is it? Let's be honest.
No, not at all.
Gosh, yeah, absolutely incredible. But no, I mean, this is the direction things are going and have been for some time. And it's now we're seeing these platforms being rolled out with incredible capabilities and the range as well. I mean, what they're talking about with that particular one, it was, altitude of 45,000 feet at a speed of, 0.86 Mach and a range of 3,000 nautical miles.
Incredible.
Almost UK to US. Not quite. Okay, it's 1,000 miles short probably, but you know what I mean. Well,
it's an amazing thing, this grey stuff, Nev, as we know. We're learning more and more each show. Right, next part of the show, Nev, very important part as well, and a great little series this.
Well, yeah, and going back to a bit more analogue, I would say, and a bit more old school, which I'm pleased to say we're able to bring you. So we've got part 4 of this fascinating interview with Alan Munro, and he talks about his time on the Harrier and the Phantom in this section. He also describes the tragic accident to the Vulcan that occurred at RAF Luqa in Malta whilst he was stationed there.
Time on the Harrier filled a very neat gap that allowed the Phantom
to recover. I never quite caught up. I did about 150 hours on the Harrier, and I was posted to a squadron that I found had got its own problems. It had shifted 2 bosses, and they were hard as nails, and I was struggling with the ground attack all the time, because I just didn't understand the disciplines. I'd never been taught. And in the end, I remember going onto the range at Decimomano, and it was Sneb first, and I fired a rocket and I was the only guy who got a direct hit, and I was so pleased. I broke into the circuit wrong way. That was the particular day they'd changed the circuit direction, and the boss said, "Sorry mate, that was your last chance."
Oh.
And where do you want to go now? I want to go to the Phantom, and I eventually got there.
Brilliant. You did the OCU and ended up on 29 Squadron, which you describe as rough but happy. I'm guessing you had a good time there.
It was a brilliant squadron. Absolutely brilliant. It was rough as a bag of nails, you wouldn't believe. And yet we got the job done.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was helped by, we had a Canadian exchange crew, and I got crewed with the navigator. And the Canadians disrupted every staff meeting on a Friday with opening up a gin and tonic mine on the coffee bar. and on one of them, the boss gave a complete briefing for the week ahead, and nobody said a word. And he said, "Ryan, any questions?" And said, "Well, yes, that was actually what we did this week. What are we doing next week?"
Oh, I love it.
Does that give you an idea of what the squadron was like?
Yeah. Well, I must admit, because I was sort of arriving in the Air Force at the time, and I was on 43, and we used to look down a bit on 29 Squadron. Because
absolutely right. We were absolutely sharp.
Well,
and we loved it. and we found our natural partners in 57 Squadron, the tanker squadron. And the 3 tanker squadrons at the time were as different as could be. And 57 were rough as old boots, same as we were. And they were our natural friends. And we kept meeting up with them. And we had a fantastic rapport.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, this was the time our careers actually intersected. As you mentioned, reinforcing 43 Squadron at Kinloss.
Yeah.
We were up there holding Northern QRA because our runway was being torn up. And it was a period I well remember. So how long did you spend up there?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. I must have been back with my lovely wife in our married quarter at Luca's because I don't remember ever seeing you.
We were saying earlier that it's quite incredible that we had such a parallel career and we kept sort of passing each other.
Like ships in the night.
Yes,
yes, absolutely.
But
so,
43 was amazing because my briefing for flying the FG1 was, and don't forget it's got a battery. It hasn't got a battery. Oh yeah, okay, fine, thank you.
Yet actually, one of the problems with people who converted or flew the FGR2 Phantom and then had to go at the FG1 was actually the nose wheel steering, because it worked on a completely different principle and because it was designed to have very sharp or achieve very sharp turns for taxiing around a carrier. And people were losing control of it on takeoff because they were tramping the rudders too much. But by the by, that was that was great.
I didn't know that.
They didn't tell you the important stuff.
I did, when I was subsequently QFI on Treble 1 Squadron and did a lot of conversion briefings to kids coming onto the FG1. I actually had one guy who had he'd come straight from the States where he'd been flying one of the American Phantoms. And I had to do the complete Brit Phantom conversion. And we got as far as, turning off one generator and then putting the rat out and then turning off the other generator. Now, on the FGR2, we used to put the rat in and see what was left. and the FG1, I said, I don't think we better do that.
No, not without a battery. That would have been...
But I took it down as far as flying it on the rat, and I thought, this
is... It's pretty brave, if you ask me.
I said, I don't think we better hang around in this configuration that long.
Not at all.
He thought it was hilarious, so we duly got the generators back on.
Excellent.
And got the thing back to normal.
Love it. Now, I read you were lucky enough to go to RAF Luqa on the island of Malta for your annual gunnery practice camp.
We did that once.
Carlos, who is the father of the PT UK podcast that we're recording for, loves it there. But the tragedy of the Vulcan crash that you witnessed notwithstanding, I bet it was a great place to spend a few weeks.
Yeah, it was. It was phenomenal. I preferred it to Cyprus.
Oh, really?
But the Vulcan, I've got my own ideas, which are slightly different from the Board of Inquiries.
Well, perhaps you ought to explain what you saw, what happened.
Before we went, we were paired up, you see, to do a pair, go off as a pair and join a specific tanker at half-hour intervals. Another tanker, another pair, and it was all... what do you call it, fallback, so if a Phantom went unserviceable, somebody from the next pair moved up. And I was left with a guy who was subsequently my flight commander, and he knew Malta very, very well from the Lightning. And he reminded me that since the RAF had built a massive new hangar, when the wind was a particular direction, the hangar could cause a wind shear of 40 knots.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
That is massive.
Yeah.
And you're halfway around finals and you lose 40 knots. And that's exactly what happened. And I put 40 knots on the landing speed, thinking this is ridiculous. We're up 220, something like that.
Yeah.
Coming around the corner. Ridiculous speed. And sure enough, wallop, 40 knots gone off the ASI. And that's interesting, you see. So just as we were signing in, somebody said, look at that. And I looked through the door of the line hut, and there was a Vulcan bogie with no Vulcan. And this thing crashed onto the ground and bounced off. So we all went rushing out, and I grabbed my camera. And we watched this Vulcan join the circuit with flames belching out of the wing. And what we didn't know was that our tanker had landed shortly after us, and the captain had grabbed his headset, gone rushing back to the tanker, thrown the battery on, and plugged in and said, "Vulcan in the circuit, get out, you're on fire." And that was the first they knew, because the RAF was handing over to Maltese. So the Maltese had the tower, and the RAF had the radar room, and he was still on radar frequency. And the Victor captain worked all this out as he was running back. And so he gave the broadcast on the most likely radar frequency. And he was right. But the guys in the tower just didn't know what to do. They'd never been briefed and never covered this situation. And they hadn't got access to the RAF frequencies. Absolute shambles. And the result was, you see, they were carrying 2 crew chiefs, and they couldn't abandon because the pilots saw them trying to get out. And they knew they hadn't, and the pilots never ejected. And when it finally blew up, we saw these 2 ejection seats just thrown out of the fireball, and they worked, and 2 parachutes coming down. And we thought, this is terrible. But you see, going back to the cause, I'm absolutely convinced that these guys hadn't put on the 40 knots for mother. And they suddenly lost 40 knots in the final stages of the approach and fell out of the sky.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Now, to me, that is so obvious and so basic that I'm not sure that was what the final conclusion was. Maybe it was. I can't remember now.
Well, I seem to remember the co-pilot was practicing a landing, and after that they refused to allow them to handle the aircraft below 10,000 feet, which they needed better training, not silly restrictions.
I'm absolutely convinced, having just experienced it a few minutes previously, that they lost 40 knots.
Yeah, well, I know. Now, you certainly seem to be getting more than your fair share of overseas postings. Overseas postings being the prize for any RAF pilot, as we now see you exploring the delights of RAF Germany on 19 Squadron.
That is absolutely true.
A tough start setting up the squadron, but how did your tour and your duty-free car go?
As far as we were concerned, the duty-free car was what it was all about. Yeah. Not to mention £3 bottles of Glenmorangie. Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of that in Scotland.
No, you didn't, but we did.
Because, no, I bet.
This was actually on the cover of the book, the handover day for the Lightning.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
With me flying the Phantom and a guy from 19 Lightnings.
Excellent.
And I actually had a Harrier on the other wing with the command photographer who took the picture.
Well, that would have only been there for 20 minutes. Oh, mind you, that's probably fine.
Well, I flew with the 2, and I remember the briefing. And it said, right, I'll spend half an hour on the Lightning and then come back down through cloud, drop the Lightning off and pick up a Harrier and go back up into the training airspace again, and we'll do the same again. So there was a series of pictures of Phantom Harrier as well.
Oh, brilliant.
And that was the day that we actually, it was, well, during the week, that we took the colour of the Lightning Squadron. Was it the formal handover? No, it's a sort of informal handover, but including the colour and the joint formation.
Excellent. Now, you went to visit Berlin. It sounds fascinating. Now that the Cold War is a distant memory, perhaps you can talk a little about what it was like in Berlin.
Well, the first time, when I was just a squadron pilot, it was a recreational run up to Berlin, and we stayed in a place called Edinburgh House that was actually run by the NAFI. And the army put me in the sergeant's mess. So this is absolutely classic. So me to mess manager, can you assure me that all of the subalterns in the officers' mess are senior to myself? And he couldn't. I said, right, move me back and kick one of them out. Oh, he was furious. But that was the army.
Yeah, look after their own, of course.
And my wife went into East Berlin on the weekend bus tour. And this was exercising the right of access. And she took my little son in, and he's got some vivid memories of sitting in a restaurant where nobody was allowed to start eating the soup until the lady said so. And he can remember that vividly. And I said, well, I want to go into East Berlin. So I phoned up the police and said, have you got anybody going in? Yes, sir, Best Blue will pick you up at such and such a time. So we went straight to the bank and said, this is the best place, sir, for changing into your Eastmarks. And I said, that's illegal. Yes, sir, absolutely right. And this is where you get the best rate of exchange.
Excellent. Excellent. Did you do any shopping while you were
Yes,
there?
I bought a vase, and we were looking for it the other day, and we couldn't find it.
Oh well, I never. You didn't buy binoculars, though, because I gather
No, that wasn't on
cameras.
that wasn't on the police shopping list. I had to go where they went.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's so good listening to him talk about that incident at Luqa.
Yeah, there was the couple of the main sort of takeaways from me for that part of the interview was that incident at Luqa. I mean, we were just saying in the chat room, in fact, losing 40 knots of airspeed on finals as you came around the corner to land. I mean, it's just horrific, isn't it? I mean, you hear about pilots today adding 3 or 4 knots or maybe 10 knots or, for wind shear or perhaps a bit more. But honestly, that is a big number. And of course, the Vulcan being the shape it was, and I suppose being like Concorde, its low speed flying capability wasn't that good. That's not what it was designed for. And you need an awful lot of oomph from the engines and also the angle of attack to maintain the lift. But the other thing I took away from this particular part, before I started filming, I said to them, because Alan was a little bit nervous about the whole thing, I said, don't be nervous, Alan. All you got to do, imagine you're having a cup of coffee or a beer with Nick and you're telling him your tales of your military service. And it came across exactly like that. I was really pleased with how comfortable Alan felt by doing that. And also Nick, because he's been there and done it, he's the perfect person to ask the probing questions, isn't he?
Yeah, it was a great series, Nev. And you've still got one
I
or two more left?
I think we've got another few more to play out. Yeah, I've just got to shove it into the editing machine, and I'll do some more. But yeah, I think it's got another probably maybe 3 parts left of it. But I hope everybody's enjoying it. I think it's an absolutely fascinating insight into someone's military career, but also his recollection of it as if it were yesterday as well.
I could almost, listening to him, to Alan talking, you can almost imagine him doing in like one of those audio books, Nev.
Yes.
I
Yes,
think
very
it'd
much
be
so.
good.
Yeah, definitely. But very entertaining.
Right, time to start to wrap things up for this evening. Should we do social medias now? Where can people find out about us?
Yes, well, if you're in the mood for a bit of social media, just search the platforms of Facebook, X and Instagram for Plain Talking UK, and you can email us at the show, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Our WhatsApp number is +44 7446 975 214. That's +44 7446 975 214. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you give us a like, because that helps the YouTube algorithm, and you'll get notifications when we go live and shape the conversation of the show by joining us in the chat room, as many people have done this evening. And thank you very much for that. Just go to youtube.com and search for Plain Talking UK. Also, as you may have heard at the start of the show, you can help support the show by either using Patreon or by PayPal. Details for that are on our website, www.plaintalkinguk.com, and we're very grateful for everybody that contributes. It makes a real difference for us in terms of mitigating some of our costs of doing the show.
It certainly does. And thank you to everyone who donates to us each month. It really does, as Nev said, helps us to do the show and bring you the awesome series, just like where we just played out there, that segment there. So, yeah, hopefully more like that to come in the future, all being well. Right, quick, I was going to say round robin. But there's only me and you. But we've got a bit of interesting news to bring you in a moment about next week's show. But Nev, what are you up to next week?
Well, just sort of redoing things that I should have done last week due to illness. So got my flu jab on Friday, so that's very exciting. I didn't feel in the mood for one last week, having had all that illness and then just adding a load of weird stuff to it. So, we decided not to do that. But doing a bit of downstairs toilet refurbishment at the moment. So doing some decorating down there. The remainder of this week, but nothing too major in the next week or so. I must say, we've had quite a couple of weeks of being a bit tired, and that blasted norovirus business has really left us feeling a bit short of energy. And when you get to our age, you've got to take it a bit easier, you know. So, but we're almost back to 100%. I'm pleased to say.
Yeah, good to hear that, Nev. Next week, still enjoying my new job next week. Actually, Nev. Very much.
I was going to ask you about that. How is it going?
It's going very well. Yeah, it's going very well. I've kind of settled in to the job and what it is, what it entails on doing. I have got quite a lot to learn. It's a similar kind of industry, so it's roofing, but it's a completely different style of roof that I've been used to for the last few years. So it's more of a kind of building, normal house or household building style of roofing, Nev. But it's good fun. But I'm enjoying it, and the commute is a lot less further as well, which is always good. I like that. It's less further to travel. So yeah, and enjoying it. And the early starts, I am now slowly, Nev, getting used to. I know, obviously, you are, like we said, retired now. And for me, the early starts is something I've not done for a number of years, not since I was in the print industry. But no, enjoying it, Nev. But
I think it's all about, I mean, obviously with any job, there's always, compromises to be made here and there and what have you, whether it's the commute to the journey itself or whatever. But if you're enjoying the job and you're working with nice people, that's everything. If you're working with people that you can really gel with and, you have a bit of a laugh from time to time and that sort of stuff, I think that's everything. I've been so lucky in my 46 years of working that in general terms, I've had the opportunity of working with some fantastic people. They may not say the same about me, but I've enjoyed working with them. And that's what makes those long days, those early morning starts and all the rest of it a bit more manageable sometimes.
So next week, we, all being well, we have got a special guest joining us on the show. And I'm going to give you a little preview for those of you watching in YouTube what this guy does. And I'll show you what he's got here. And if you can see this picture there, just pop that on the screen there as well, for those of you watching in the world of YouTube. So next week, we are going to be welcoming onto the show as a guest, our first time on the show, Ian from Flight Zone 320. Now, Ian's got a proper actual training Airbus A320 flight sim just up the road from us here, Norfolk. It's Great Yarmouth, so it's on the coast here. And Ian is also a captain as well for quite a large charter airline here in the UK. So he'll be joining us next week on the show, all being well, to talk about his career and also about his awesome business, which is Flight. If you want to Google it, it's Flight Zone 320, where you can go and have a fly on the A320 sim, which he's got there. It's a fixed-base sim, but I will say the graphics are incredible. Very, very, very detailed indeed. He spent a lot of time and effort putting this sim together, and also the actual visuals of the airports, Nev, are fantastic at Heathrow, where I had a go. I've actually been up there and had a go myself a few months ago. Flew into North Deans Airport, which is the airport attached to the hangar where this is, and got invited in and had a play on there, Nev, which was quite interesting. I do enjoy that kind of thing, having a go on flight sims, especially when they are actual proper training flight sims. So hopefully all being well, as long as everything lines up, we'll be having Ian on the show next week to chat about that and his awesome career, because he has flown not just Airbus, but he's also flown Boeing aircraft as well. So all being well, Andy will be with us as well, won't he, Nev, next week? So be good to get them together.
No, absolutely, yeah. I'm looking forward to that very much. Just having a look at Ian's website there, it's some nice stuff actually that he's been doing then. Also, you can book various sessions, 30, 60 or 90-minute sessions, and he does gift vouchers and this sort of stuff. But no, I had no idea that facility was up in your neck of the woods there, Carlos.
Yeah, it's quite new. It's not been there long. But Ian's sort of finding his feet and trying to get as many people as he can to kind of go in. And you can go in with a group. You can go in and book an hour session with a group of people. I, for one, will be booking up an hour slot soon to take my dad so he can have a go of the Airbus. Because he's flown the 737 sim when we were down in London many years ago, but he's yet to have a go on the 320. So I hope to book a session for my father to go in there and have a play.
Now I'm slightly concerned because obviously we now have a track record of using other people's simulators, and the moment that we've used them, some time later they go out of business. So I'm hoping this is not third time unlucky.
No.
Oh God!
He'll be fine. But no, he's done really well. He's put a lot of time and effort into that, and like I said, the airline that he currently flies for, he does get to fly some very awesome commercial airliners configured in some quite nice configurations. Nev, that's all I'm going to say.
No, absolutely, no, it's great. Yeah, it must be a titan of a job that he does.
It does, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Right, that is it for tonight's show. Going to say a big thanks to everyone who joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. Thank you to everyone. Also, thanks to everyone who has downloaded the show as well. Thanks for downloading the show as an audio podcast and listening to us each week. We do appreciate that. Don't forget to check us out online. allthews.planetalkinguk.com is our website, and we'd love to hear from you, like Nev said, with some feedback. We really would love to hear from you, especially if you fancy paying that extra couple of £100 for a premium economy flight. Would you? Let us know. Send us an email. So that's it, Nev. I'm going to leave you to say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. My speaking is failing me today. I don't know why, but thanks ever so much to everyone for joining us in the chat room tonight. It's been a lot of fun as always. Next week's going to be a very good show, by the way. So we get Ian on the show, and I think Andy's back as well, so that'll be fantastic. Hope you have a great rest of the week and the weekend. We'll see you 7 o'clock UK time next week on Wednesday. In the meantime, bye for now.
And there we are, Nev.
Another show. Another Wednesday night completed.
Wednesday. That was good. That was a good show tonight. I enjoyed that.
Yep, no, lots of news this week, wasn't there?
Yeah,
lots to report.
lots of good news. Lots of good news. We always like that. Always like that.
Yeah, I must say, I'm having not flown, well, okay, I flew a few weeks ago, but not being such a regular flyer these days at all, I'm a little bit out of touch with how it's all going at the airport. So I probably need to just book myself a flight somewhere just to sample it all again.
Just book a random flight, Nev. I'll tell you what you could do. You could book a premium economy flight with BA.
Oh, I could. Yes, I could do that. Couldn't I? Yes. Yeah. Oh dear.
Apparently, APG are live soon.
Yes, they are, aren't they? Yes, in about 15 minutes' time. So no, good stuff.
Right, we're going to let these lovely people go. I'm going to go and see my wife because she's had another thrilling day sorting out the National Health Service here in the UK. So I'm going to go and sit and drink a glass of vino with her, I think. This evening.
Good lad.
Yeah,
excellent. Yes.
Right, so thanks again, everyone, for tuning in this evening, and have a great weekend and rest of the week, whatever you're up to, and we'll see you next Wednesday for another show. So, Nev, I'll leave it to you to say goodbye to everyone.
Yes, well, I'm looking forward to next week as well. Should be a lot of fun with Ian on the show and talking about his 320 sim that he's got there. So brilliant stuff, and we'll see you next week, all being well. Take care. Bye for now.